Welcome to our East End office on Innovation Drive. We've got a special one for you today. Jay, go ahead.
Sure, thanks Mark. We've got today we're going to learn about breaking barriers in sport with Kaamraan and Sabena Islam. Let's go inside and meet them.
Yeah, so this is exciting. We've got 4 passionate curlers here with us today, and we're going to be talking about curling and important programming that we have going on here in Kingston. So, Sabena, you launched a program for youth 2 years ago?
Last season.
Last season, yeah. Okay. So this will be out in 2023, so we can say 2 years ago.
Okay, there you go.
And excellent that Com's now on board with an adult program that's coming. So,
Exactly.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit, Com. What do you got coming up?
Yeah, so starting in January, I'm launching a new program for racialized adults at the Kaamraan Golf and Country Club. It's called Curling for Racialized Adults. And
he needs to think of a catchier title, but that's another story.
It's got to work.
We're building off of the foundations of the program that my mom started 2 years ago, her youth program. So on the last day of the youth program, she hosted a session for the kids to come out with their parents. And what we noticed was that there was a lot of interest from parents, racialized parents in starting curling. So when I saw the Curling Canada All Heart Junior Curler Award come up, I was interested in applying for that because I wanted to start a program to allow some of those parents from the youth program to get into curling. So when I was a successful applicant, I knew right away that I wanted to launch the program for racialized adults here at Kaamraan, and that's sort of how it started.
When does the program begin?
So I'm offering 2 clinics. Clinic A occurs from January to February, and Clinic B runs from March to April. They're both the same in terms of the programming offered. It's just 2 separate time frames depending on people's schedules. Clinic A, which starts in January, starts on January 12th, and then Clinic B will start later in March.
So there'll be like 4 sessions each clinic, and it's an hour on Thursday nights at 8.
So where is this? What's the cost? How do people register?
Yeah, so this program will be held at the Kaamraan Golf and Country Club here in Kingston. The cost is $20 per clinic, and that comes to $5 per session because there's 4 sessions included in each clinic. And if you're interested in registering, you can head over to the Kaamraan Golf and Country Club social media pages, and they'll have a post there with the link to register.
And we'll provide that in our link to this video as well. So that link's in our post, so if you want to register for that.
And space is limited, and he's already he's about a third full already.
More than a third full already.
And he only started advertising, I think,
just 2 days ago.
Yeah, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
So hopefully this gets out there soon.
Yeah.
So people can hear more about it.
Yeah, and we're all passionate about building the game of curling, and we've enjoyed the game for several years and just want to see the game continue to grow. And I think this is a great opportunity for people who otherwise maybe felt uncomfortable starting to curl.
Absolutely.
To have an opportunity where they're comfortable. Speak about that a little bit, Sabena, with your background.
So what we, so I'm also part of a group called United We Curl, and we're, one of our main goals is to get more people into curling from perhaps non-traditional backgrounds or people who wouldn't have considered the sport before, from racialized or marginalized communities. And what we noticed specifically with the youth program last year is when you do targeted outreach and build relationships in the community, people, once that trust level is built up, then people do come in and do want to play the sport. So I know, we've been involved in curling for many years, and the youth program at Kaamraan for well over a decade, almost 2 decades. And I was just as guilty as everybody else. Like I never actually did targeted outreach. We would sort of advertise through the club, but what we did for the youth program is I reached out to different ethnocultural groups in Kingston, and what really made the difference I noticed was I reached out to my friends and acquaintances in those groups, and they then, because they had a trust level with me, once they reached out into the communities and they sort of were advertising but saying, hey, Sabina's running this program and we know her and we trust her, people signed up. So we had almost 40 kids last year, and we have about 35 kids this year. And yeah, Mark's one of our, Mark and Kaamraan are coaches in that program. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun, but I think people don't think, there's a lot of people in Kingston that just don't think of curling because it may it not be something that you grew up with. Like, you know, I feel like, so like Kaamraan got into it because, you know, I was really into it, and my mom curled, and that's how I knew about it. Otherwise, I'm not sure if I would have really been into it. So just having that targeted outreach and really making people feel comfortable and welcome once they get into the club, and as you know, we do a lot of fun things in our program to make people feel comfortable and welcome.
Yeah, provincially awarded program, might I say.
It's a full team effort. Yeah, so we were lucky enough to win the can't remember the exact name of it, but it was a Curl-On Diversity and Inclusion award last year.
Yeah, so wonderful programming, and I know that experience. What sort of experience could the adult programming now take forward with sort of what your mom's structures developed?
Yeah, and like just to add on to your point about trust, one of the main things that we're trying to do with this adult program is to like establish the trust and comfort factor for all the new racialized curlers. So one thing that I've decided to implement is after the on ice session, we're going to have an off ice portion where we're going to have snacks and light refreshments for the curlers, and just provide a space for people to get to know each other and feel more comfortable in the curling environment. Not only establish connections within like the racialized curler group, but also to establish connections with other curlers at the club, because at the same time as this program on Thursday nights, Cataraqui also offers a general Learn to Curl program. So I'm hoping that the curlers in this program for racialized adults can establish connections with the other new curlers there.
So Kaamraan, how many people in Group A and B are you looking for?
So
the adults?
there's 12 spots in each clinic, so
12 spots,
24.
Great. And they've got amazing coaches involved in the program, which I think is for anyone coming into it, knowing that, you know, it's a safe environment, but it's also an environment with great coaches. It's yes, volunteer coaches and things, but certainly, you know, certified and have all the tools to make sure that it's a great program. Talking about qualifications and coaches, Sabena, you have an amazing adventure ahead. Tell us about your adventure that's fast approaching.
So our family is of Pakistani heritage, even though I was born in Northern Ontario. Mark is from up there as well. So I always used to joke with the kids, like, it's really hard to get to the Olympics out of Canada, right? It's really hard to win that Olympic trial berth, and I always just say, like, hey, our best chance to get to the Olympics is through Team Pakistan. We used to joke about it and stuff, but you know, long story short, I made some contacts with some people with the Winter Sports Federation in Pakistan, and I'm headed there in a few days for a little over a month to help train some people, and like basically it's not really training yet, it's more introducing the sport of curling to the country. So for people not familiar with Pakistan, there's the northern regions are like K2, the mountain is right there. So it does get very cold. There's snow. There aren't any indoor ice facilities though. So we will be playing out on lakes and on outdoor ice rinks. So the ice conditions won't be perfect as we expect in Canada. But I think it's just like a really cool opportunity to introduce the sport that, you know, is such a huge part of our lives, and you know that we love, and it's brought so much enjoyment and and joy to our lives for so many years, to be able to introduce that to a country. Like I'm super pumped about that. They're even before I got into contact with the Winter Sports Federation of Pakistan, it was one of the sports that they wanted to develop in Pakistan. So they have like a 5-year plan of their sport development, and he's got some really lofty goals, my contact there, in terms of getting to the Olympics and stuff. But I was like, let's start slow. So we're gonna have a couple streams, like one with development grassroots in the country, and hopefully our goal is to get World Curling Federation membership at the next Congress, which is in the fall, and then we can also look at some expat curlers around the world, and to maybe start with the competition with them. So I'm like technically the director of curling for the country.
So how are the people selected that will have the opportunity to learn on the lakes?
So from what I understand right now, I just had a meeting this morning at like 1:30 because the time change is wacky. But basically we're going to the communities, and there are some youth who are sort of like into sports and stuff. There's also going to be like skating coaches going at the same time. So they just, local youth will be getting the opportunity, and then they do a lot of development work as well. So they will be providing like sort of kits to the kids, like with some winter gear and skates and stuff. But he did say it becomes a whole community, and just like it is here, it becomes a whole community event. So he said, basically I'll be doing some demos, the kids will try it out, but he said then when they've done this with skating before, then the mums and the dads and the grandmas and the aunties, like everybody wants to come because everybody's out there watching in these smaller communities, and then they want to come try it. So I am taking some push sticks. So if people want to, if people can't slide but want to try it out, so and that's the thing, right? Like we have so many similarities across the world, right? And community building through sport is such an important thing, and just to hear those parallels already. So I'm just really excited to see it in action, and I haven't been to these parts of Pakistan before, so I'm really excited to see the beauty of the country too. Yeah. And I will be hopefully documenting a lot of it. So
that's great. It's interesting. I was go off track here a little bit, but I was in Coldwater on December 26th and playing in a fun Bonspiel tournament at the club. And one of the things that I was looking at inside of their main lounge areas, they had a photo from about 1875, and there is basically the community. They were on the river that goes through, and they're out on the river curling, and there's a lot of people. It seemed like they had more people than 8 playing in a game. There's a lot of people on the ice with, the old-fashioned brooms that were used at that time. But there's also, when you said community, there's 25, 30 people observing the game and sort of being part of it, and of all ages and things. So it was sort of, just when you were saying that, it's amazing that's where we began. In Canada, it was starting, it seems simple and unusual right now to think you're going to play on the ice and the lakes and things, but that's how it began in Canada many, many years ago, and it's amazing, obviously where we've gotten to. So that's a cool thing, and the beauty is, I'm looking forward to seeing this documentary that you'll be putting out for us.
Yeah, I got a new phone, and we'll see how it goes. I'm not Mark Strand professional style, but I will do my best. And the closest I've come to playing outside was in high school outside of Red Lake. I think it's like Bombertown or something. Anyway, it was like naturalized, so they had like a shed, but it was like just like walls.
Right.
And I remember rotating, like it was so cold that someone would always be rotating out to go warm up. So I have like heated gloves.
Yeah.
I bought a bunch of new gear for this trip.
Yeah. Well, it's too bad we're not quite cold enough to have our ice frozen yet. You could go and practice on it and sort of see what they're going to experience. But on behalf of Mark and the curlers and really the sport community, we're so proud to know both Sabena and Kaamraan and what both of you do for curling and diversity and breaking barriers. It's amazing, and thank you for everything that the two of you have done in the past and continue to do. It's great to know both of you, and
Thank you both so much too, because again, like I said, Mark is helping out, or one of the coaches in our program, and Jay basically taught Kaamraan everything he does. He was his coach for many, many years, so
And we're both here amplifying our voices.
yeah, so we appreciate that, absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks.